You think you know me? You think you know me? Come on. Tell me. Do you really know me? I don't think you do. Come listen.
You think you know the real Clarence Wilson? No, you don't. But hey, now you will. Hey. So, to come up with the first topic to talk about, I could easily go straight back into talking about relationships, but if you follow me on my social medias, I've talked about that quite a bit. Yeah, I'm sick of it. I want to talk about other things in my life, and trying to go through all the options of what to talk about. How about let's talk about my about what I am not these days, and that's a fighter. Now, I'm a fighter, as in I'll fight for what I want and fight for, for a lot of things that I'm passionate about. But one thing I'm not is a physical fighter. I don't fight people. Like, I'm not that kind of fighter no more. If I have to be self-defense wise, yeah, obviously anybody should. But if I'm going to talk about this, I gotta go way back, right? I'm talking way back in school. Obviously, I'm not going to mention any names of anybody. If I'm friends with you, obviously we've already cleared the air, we've already made our peace, and we were all young and stupid anyway. And if you're not my friend on here or anywhere, and you're watching this right now, well, I mean, it happened, and this is my story. Don't out yourself. Don't try to come at me. I have no beef with you. Well, maybe one person, but I'll get into that soon. So, except if we're gonna go back, we're gonna go back to 6th grade. Yeah, 6th grade. I'm in middle school at my local school. Like I said, I'm not gonna mention names here. Not even the school name. I won't do that. If you know, you know. Let's just say that. This place started developing a thing called zero tolerance, and I'll just say they tolerated a lot that they shouldn't have, and a lot was bullying. Because back in school, I was bullied a lot. And you gotta think, a lot of these fights I was in, a lot of them were people I was friends with first. Very first fight I ever got into, it wasn't even like a fight, it was like a shoving contest. Like, I was in class and joking around with one of my friends, and then all of a sudden, this kid gets in my face and tells me, back off, and I'm like, dude, this has nothing to do with you, it's me and a friend. And he tried to be acting all big and bad, so I told him to get out of my face, and he shoved me. And I shoved him, and then he shoved me. Just so happened the teacher walks right in as I get my ass laid down on the ground, because he kind of shoved me, and I tripped and all that jazz. And then I get in-house, and that was the first time I ever had in-house. I mean, I come to love in-house. I even skipped school and signed myself into in-house. That's how great I loved in-house. But in-house was pretty crazy. I cried my first day there because I'm like, I never gotten in actual trouble there, right? Me and this guy never fought, fist fought, pretty close a few times, but we never did. We ended up working in the same factory years later, but we never worked the same shift. But I know he talked shit about me because, that's what people like to do. Second fight, was with the friend I was joking around with. Me and him have known each other since the 3rd grade. We've had instances where me and him, almost fought each other at the bus stop, and he pulled a wrench at me, and then, that was after a car honked his horn and said, "Get away from him!" He was calling me some derogatory names, and of course I was, self-defense. I was like, "Ooh, you call me that? How dare you? I'm gonna fight you." But the fight happened almost in class. The fist fight actually almost happened in class. We had to go over to the high school for music class. He was throwing rocks at me, so I grabbed this big rock and I chucked it at him, and it didn't work. So I put a couple rocks in my pocket. I didn't use them. I threw them away in class and almost went after him then, because the music teacher was completely clueless at the time of what the hell she was doing with her life. So this fight almost happens there. And then, yeah, it was pretty crazy. So I get outside, and all of a sudden, me and him are just going at it. Like, we just go back and forth. We're hitting each other. He found out that I was, like, having pains in my rib, and he was going after that. And then a high schooler broke it up, so you guys are going to get in trouble. Well, it just so happened someone told and pinpointed us out, and we both got 3-day suspension. Understandable. I get it, right? The next fight, I didn't get it so much. Once again, another friend of mine kept punching me in my arm. I told him to stop. He kept on. Told him to stop again. Asked him. I'm like, dude, stop hitting me in my arm, please. And he kept doing it. Punched him in the face a couple times. And then he got up, called me an asshole, left, right? That was the end of it. Now, what happens to me? I get suspended for 6 days. Like, what? It sucked. But again, I get it. Then there was this other guy, and this one's gonna be a little bit longer of a story because it tends to bring out what happens in the future for me. So one guy starts bullying me a lot in school, in class, constantly wanting to fight with me all the time. And I'm like, okay, you know what? Fine, I'm gonna fight this guy finally, right? Before I do, though, I was already on hallway suspension. I wasn't allowed in the hallways with everyone else. And they knew that, and they would go into the library. They would go wherever I was at and come at me. So therefore, he would come in with his friends into the library to make fun of me. One of his friends decided to come the next day with another friend. So the original guy that was bullying me wasn't even around. This big guy, that may or may not have been on the football team, comes in with his other friend, and they start picking on me more, right? So I go after the first guy, and I turn around, I'm like, hey, you want to send your friends at me? Fine, let's fight, you and me. And he goes and says, well, I'm not going to ruin my basketball career over you, and then walks away, right? So I'm left without a fight. I gave up for the rest of the day. I'm like, whatever, screw the fight, whatever, done. I go, and I sit in the cafeteria. I leave the cafeteria, and then all of a sudden, I go into the gym, and then the big guy, the friend of the original bully, comes and gets in my face and is like, oh, you're going to cheap shot me like you did the last fight you were in? You're going to get my way? So I try to move one way, and I say, get out of my way. And then he goes, and blocks me. Then I go this way, and he blocks me. So I just give him a tiny little shove, just a little, and I leave me alone. This big guy, this big bulky guy, shoves me, and I fly, exaggerating, 10 feet back, right? So I get up, and I blacked out, because in fights I normally black out. I get up, and I ball up my fist, and I head towards the guy, right? So clearly he sees from a mile away, I'm about to punch him with my right fist, right? I swing, he blocks, he holds down. He doesn't need to hold down, but he holds down my arm. And then proceeds to punch me in my face. Over and over and over again, right? I try to block and punch, but that's not working. He's pushing this hand away and doing this again. I can't move this freaking arm. So he's going at it, right? And I've explained this a million times, but it felt like falling down a spiral staircase, right? I finally land on the ground in the gym, and from the whole entire 7th grade, because this is 7th grade now, the whole 7th grade class, and I have people worried about me. I have people laughing at me. And I wake up after a couple seconds of being knocked out, and all of a sudden I feel something in my mouth moving, and it's a piece of my tooth in the back. And I reached in my mouth and I pulled that piece of tooth out, and I heard screams, I heard ew, and I heard some more laughter because people didn't like me very much in school, and I get it. You know, people just like to bully the easy targets, right? So I pull this piece of tooth out, and I ended up like throwing it directly in the little mini puddle of blood that was coming out of my mouth while I was knocked out. They disperse everybody. They take me to the bleachers to kind of get washed up, then they take me upstairs to get washed up, and then I sit in the counseling office for 2.5 hours until last hour. But before that, I go to the office, and of course people told them I started it, so guess what happens to me? I get suspended for 10 days, and the only thing I did was shove them and tell them to get out of my way. That's it. That's all I did. So I get suspended for 10 days, and I mean, I don't obviously have the records in front of me, but I'm assuming the only thing he got was a little slap on the wrist. Like, hello? Like, zero tolerance, but yet you're going to give this football player a little slap on the wrist, maybe 3-day suspension, maybe write-up, maybe in-house, maybe, right? But he's got to make it back for the big game on Friday, right? Can't miss that football. A little bitter. It's okay. What turned out, and we're gonna fast forward into my adult years. I ended up getting all my teeth taken out. No matter how many times I went to the dentist, no matter how many times I cleaned my teeth, brushed my teeth, flossed, whatever, the one tooth that this guy knocked out of my mouth, like over half of my tooth, and for the longest time, the feeling died. Until I started getting feeling back into it, and then all of a sudden now my mouth is in pain. I can't eat anything without it being in pain. I go there and they're like, "Oh, you gotta get all but 6 of your teeth taken out." I'm not gonna save 6 teeth, so I told them, "No, get them all out." And for the record, I haven't worn my false teeth in like 3 years. I'm more confident now about it, but back when it first happened, I was married. I know my ex-wife wasn't really too fond of me not wearing teeth, despite her saying at first she was. I've been actually denied dating somebody because I didn't have teeth, despite explaining my situation. Just because I had no teeth don't mean nothing. I mean, I've never had no complaints anywhere else, right? But like, that's neither here nor there. Because of that fight, I had a lot of issues with that person, because like I said, like, after that fight, for many years to come, I got bullied just on that alone. People who were in elementary school and preschool knew about this story, and when they would try to pick on me on the bus, because I'm a high schooler, and high school and middle schoolers, have the same bus sometimes, and I mean, I'm getting roasted by a freaking sixth grader over a fight that he knew from other people, because he wasn't even around then. So like, that's how bad that one particular fight was. It was stupid. But despite the people bringing it up thing, I actually redeemed myself in the fights, because I ended up getting into another fight the following year, which led to me being suspended for the rest of the year. Once again, another friend. I was having issues with an ex-girlfriend's friend, and she came up to me and started like going off on me, almost smacking me in my face and all this and that. And then these two guys would come, and one used to be a friend, kinda, I guess. They would go and talk to that girl and say I'm talking more shit. So she would come up to me and yell at me again, and they would go and laugh. So I was sick and tired of these guys bullying me anyway. These guys were bullying me for a while. So what I did was I took a drink of my milk, right? And then I just chucked it right at them. Direct hot shot right in between them, right? They hop over the table, fly around, whatever, and come at me. One couldn't make it to me, but one did. And then me and him were going at it, and he even hit me in the balls, right? I can't feel it. Adrenaline's kicking in. I'm fighting this guy, right? And then the assistant principal at the time came in with lunch ladies, and they dispersed us, and of course I got suspended for 10 days. Despite I considered it, you know, defense technically. So I, you know, it sucked, but you know, at the same time, I kind of got a little bit of respect, kind of. My next fight after that would be against someone who was new to school. I befriend him. See the trend here, right? Oh, actually, scratch that. One more fight before that one was another friend. That fight was a real quick. It started out as being yo mama jokes to me saying, hey, you're going a little too far because you're adding other things, and like, okay, it's not that funny no more. He kept on and then called me a bitch about not accepting jokes and stuff, and then I went at him the next day. And that one I will say I did. I kind of even went up to people's tables at lunch. I'm like, hey, you want to see a fight? Look, follow me. And I fought. That one kicked me out of school for the rest of the year. That was rough. But hey, I made it back the next year. So I failed 2 grades. I was supposed to graduate in 2011. I didn't even graduate, but that's neither here nor there right now. But like, which I did get my GED just a year and a half ago, so we're good. But with that particular school, I didn't get nothing. It's fine, whatever. So anyways, the next following year, I befriend a new kid. He never went to school here before. I befriended him. He had a crush on an old friend of mine's little sister. She didn't want nothing to do with him, right? I get suspended. I forgot what it was for. I'm trying to think what it was for. I can't remember these days, right? I get suspended for some reason. I come back, and all of a sudden now they're dating, and now he wants nothing to do with me, right? At first he was starting to slowly not have anything to do with me. He's like, oh hey, can you sit somewhere else? I'm going to try to get her to sit next to me. And then of course she ignores him and doesn't sit next to him. And then, like, now doesn't want anything to do with me. So he goes ahead and he starts bad-mouthing me. And yet, he's the one that was creeping out other women, and now he's dating my old friend's little sister, and then wants to act like I don't exist no more. So yeah, I kind of got mad, but I didn't do anything about it. I was like, whatever, fine. But he started talking crap about me. So whenever I said, hey, if you don't shut up, I'm gonna kick your ass. Well, he got my old friend to defend him because that was his little sister's boyfriend at the time. I get it, defending, but at the same time, mind your business, you know, but hey, it happens, right? So, the fight happens anyway, because the next day, in the morning, after being told, you know, threatened about if I touch him, whatever, he goes, and he's walking with 2 of his friends. I'm waiting for one of my friends upstairs. And he, it was funny. He lets his 2 friends walk downstairs. He comes up to me and says, oh, I don't have to worry about you touching me because I got plenty of friends that will kick your ass. So I just went off and I beat the shit out of him, right? I'm going after him. Back and forth. He ends up maneuvering his way and running downstairs. I follow him. I remember a cup of coffee landing on this teacher that I couldn't stand growing up. And then we got right in the middle of right in front of the office, right? And then we're just fighting back and forth. Now, I get, once again, suspended for 10 days. And I remember coming back in the middle of my suspension to pick up some homework, and everyone was just crazy. You're like, oh my God, it's Clarence. Go warn so-and-so. And then he saw me, he ran. It was so fun. Getting really tight on time here. I gotta do this in 2 parts for TikTok, but 1 part on YouTube. But the last fight I was in was one. This one kid was mad because he couldn't leave class. I told him to mind his own business when he said, "Oh, he just skips." Back and forth we fought. I had steel-toed boots on. He got me to the ground after headbutting me in my nose. I ended up kicking him in the face with my steel-toed boot. We fought back and forth. 2 classrooms had to separate us, and then I went at it. So after that, I got suspended once again for 10 days. But I was also warned too that if any more fights, I'm expelled forever. I'm done. And that sucked, but whatever. Yeah, so that's my fighting history. Like I said, if you were there, whatever. If you weren't there, whatever. If you know a guy that knows the story, cool. Listen, follow it. Do I have any animosity towards any of these people anymore? Absolutely not. Maybe the guy who made me lose my tooth, but I mean, he's had some bad karma come his way, so I can't really even be mad at him anymore. But yeah, with me in fights, it's like and there's people recently in my life in the last few years that have been coming close to wanting me to fight. But here's the thing: I'm not a fighter. I'm a lover. I'm the kind of guy that wants peace, always wants peace, but yet can't get peace because everyone hates me and wants to bully me because I'm easy target. But I just don't get why. I just don't get why. At the end of the day, no, I really don't hate all these people. I'm actually friends with some of these people. We don't talk every day. We're not best buddies, but like we have respect for each other. And this is just my side of the story. Like they could have easily went after me and bullied me because they heard some lies from other people. So like I don't know all their side of the story because after we fought, we didn't really catch up that close. We caught up enough for like life events, like major life events, and that's it. Like, we didn't go into detail about our past and what caused us to do this and what caused us to do that. So, I'm not worried about them, the people I actually got into actual fistfights with. I'm not worried about them and hating on them and caring about what they're doing in their life. I hope they're doing well. And I see that a lot of them, they're actually doing quite well for themselves, and I'm happy for them. That being said, yeah, that's my fight history. That's my fight life, and hope to never have to fight again. I know there's some people who are trying to push my buttons. But you won't win, because I know you'll get in more trouble. Wink, wink. You know who you are. But with that being said, now I gotta do this. I gotta TikTok this in 3 parts now. TikTok needs to do a little bit more than 10 videos, but YouTube, gotcha. Thank you for listening. If you made it this far, that means you listened to this whole story, and that's crazy. But you guys have a great day, and I guess part 2 will be a different topic.